Have you ever wondered what it took to command the most formidable army of the ancient world? What kind of person could lead 50,000 Roman soldiers into battle and emerge victorious? Today, we're marching back in time to uncover the grueling, prestigious, and often political path to becoming a Roman general. We'll explore the ranks, the responsibilities, and how they compare to the military structures we know today. First, let's get one thing straight. The Roman army wasn't just a disorganized mob of guys with swords. It was a meticulously structured, well-oiled machine, and its command hierarchy was the engine that drove it. At the very bottom, you had your standard legionary, the backbone of the army. But we're not starting there. We're aiming for the top. To even get a foot in the door of high command, it helped immensely to be born into the right family. For the Roman aristocracy, a military career wasn't just an option. It was a fundamental part of the cursus honorum, the sequential order of public offices. Think of it as a mandatory internship for future politicians. Except your tasks involved leading men in life or death situations. Young aristocrats would often start their careers very early, sometimes as teenagers, serving as military tribunes. Now, a Roman legion was a force to be reckoned with, typically numbering around 5,000 men. Commanding one wasn't a job for a single person. It was a team effort, led by a legatus, legunius, or legionary legate. This is a position we might equate to a modern major general. But a legate didn't just show up and take charge. They had a whole staff of officers under them. Let's break down the command structure within a legion. You had 6 military tribunes. One of these, the tribunus Laticlavius was a young senator in training, second in command of the legion. He was there to learn the ropes. The other 5, the tribuni Angusti Clavi were from the equestrian class, a lower tier of the aristocracy, and were more experienced career soldiers. You could think of them as senior staff officers, maybe colonels or lieutenant colonels, handling logistics, training, and administrative duties. Below the tribunes were the centurions, the real NCOs of the Roman army. Each centurion commanded a century of about 80 men. These guys were the grizzled veterans, the sergeants and captains who knew the ins and outs of daily soldiering. They were promoted from the ranks based on bravery and experience, and they were the ones who ensured the general's orders were actually carried out on the battlefield. The most senior centurion, the Primus Pilus was an incredibly respected figure, almost like a legion's sergeant major, and he even attended the general's war councils. So, if you were an ambitious young Roman, your journey might start as a tribunus Laticlavius. You'd spend a few years learning from an experienced legate, getting a feel for logistics, discipline, and tactics. This was your proving ground. If you performed well, you could move on to civilian political offices, like quaestor or praetor, before returning to the military with a higher command. Let's talk about specialized units. A legion wasn't just infantry. It had its own contingent of cavalry, the equites, legionis typically around 120 strong. These weren't just scouts. They were elite shock troops and protectors of the legion's flanks. The officer commanding this cavalry was the prefectus equitum Given the specialized nature of his command and his direct responsibility for a crucial tactical asset, we could compare his role to that of a modern major. He wasn't just another officer. He was a specialist commander entrusted with a high-value unit. It was a position of significant trust and a stepping stone to greater things. The ultimate goal for many was the position of legatus legionis. To get there, you usually needed to have served as a praetor in Rome. This meant you weren't just a soldier. You were a proven administrator and judge. The Romans believed that the ability to govern a province and the ability to command an army were two sides of the same coin. This dual-track career path is quite different from modern militaries, where officers typically stay within the armed forces for their entire careers. A Roman general was a politician, a judge, and a warrior, all rolled into one. Above the legionary legate was the provincial governor, often a former consul, the highest office in Rome. This governor was the overall commander-in-chief of all legions stationed in his province. He was the equivalent of a modern four-star general, or even a theater commander. He made the strategic decisions whether to invade, where to build forts, and how to manage the vast resources of the Roman state. Famous figures like Julius Caesar in Gaul held this level of command, wielding immense power and leading multiple legions. So, let's trace the path. You start as a young tribune, learning command. You prove yourself. perhaps as a praefectus equitum, showing you can handle a specialized unit. You go back to Rome, climb the political ladder, and become a praetor. With that experience, you're appointed as a legate to command a legion of your own. You win battles, earn the respect of your men, and maybe, just maybe, you'll be elected consul and given command of an entire province with multiple legions at your disposal. It was a system that blended military and political ambition, rewarding both battlefield prowess and administrative skill. It ensured that Rome's top commanders weren't just tacticians, they were statesmen who understood the broader strategic picture. While a modern major might focus purely on their battalion, a Roman officer of equivalent standing always had one eye on the battlefield and the other on the Senate house in Rome. This intricate system of progression is what made the Roman military so consistently effective for centuries. It created a class of leaders who were educated, politically savvy, and battle-hardened. So, the next time you see a movie with a Roman general shouting orders, remember the incredible journey of politics, administration, and combat it took to get him there. It was far more than just being good with a sword. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the Roman command structure. If you enjoyed this deep dive into history, please hit that like button, subscribe for more content, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next video. Let me know in the comments which ancient military you'd like us to explore next. Until then, stay curious.